Max Weber may well be best known for his development of the ideal type, and the ideal type bureaucracy in particular. At its most basic level, an ideal type is a concept constructed by a social scientist to capture the principal features of some social phenomena. Although ideal types are to be derived from the real world, they are not to be mirror images of that world. Rather, they are one-sided exaggerations of what goes on in the world. In Weber's view, the more exaggerated the ideal type, the more useful it will be for empirical research. Ideal types are heuristic, learning, devices. They are to be used as a measuring rod, or standard of comparison in empirical research. Through comparison of the ideal type with empirical reality, divergences and similarities can be determined. For example, a social scientist would construct an ideal type bureaucracy on the basis of historical data, as Weber has done. This ideal type can then be compared to an actual bureaucracy. The researcher looks for differences and similarities in the real case from the exaggerated ideal type. Weber's bureaucracy. Although Weber was aware of their failings, he portrayed bureaucracies in a highly positive way. From a purely technical point of view, a bureaucracy is capable of attaining the highest degree of efficiency, and is in this sense formally the most rational known means of exercising authority over human beings. It is superior to any other form in precision, in stability, in the stringency of its discipline, and its reliability. It thus makes possible a particularly high degree of calculability or results for the heads of the organization and for those acting in relation to it. It is finally superior both in intensive efficiency and in the scope of its operations, and is formally capable of application to all kinds of administrative tasks. 2. Weber's greatest fear, however, was that the rationalization that dominates all aspects of bureaucratic life was a threat to individual liberty. Weber noted that no machinery in the world functions so precisely as this apparatus of men and, moreover, so cheaply. Rational calculation reduces every worker to a cog in this bureaucratic machine, and, seeing him, herself in this light, he will merely ask how to transform him, herself into a somewhat bigger cog. The passion for bureaucratization drives us to despair. 3. Weber was appalled by the effects of bureaucratization, and more generally of the rationalization of the world, of which bureaucratization is but one component, but he saw no way out. Weber described bureaucracy as an escape-proof iron cage, and among the hardest institutions to destroy once they are established. 4. The ideal type bureaucracy is a type of organization. Its basic units are offices organized in a hierarchical manner, with rules, functions, written documents, and means of compulsion. The following are the major components of the ideal type bureaucracy. A. Specialization. There is a clear-cut division of labor among those in the bureaucracy, assigning each position certain limited duties and responsibilities. B. Hierarchy of offices. There is a well-defined hierarchy. Those in higher positions have authority to give orders to those below them in the hierarchy. Authority in the hierarchy is attached to the position, not the person. This ensures that the organization is not disrupted by retirement, death, etc. Circa rules and regulations. The activities of a bureaucracy and the relationships are governed by an elaborate system of explicit, formal, written rules and regulations. D. Technical competence. Employees are hired and hold authority on the basis of technical qualifications. Employees are typically evaluated according to set criteria. This contrasts sharply with the practice of favoring relatives and friends over strangers regardless of their talents. E. Impersonality. Efficiency is increased because bureaucrats become impersonal and objective in dealing with people. The higher the best qualified person, not the boss's incompetent son. F. Formal, written communication. Bureaucracy demands formal, written letters, memos and reports. Such documentation guides the organization in roughly the same way that personality guides the individual. We should, however, put the Weberian model in proper perspective. If we compare Weber's rational legal form of bureaucracy with traditional, patrimonial, and other similar types of organizations, we may agree with most contemporary writers that bureaucracy is the most efficient form of administration known today. Weber's model has had a significant democratizing effect on American society. It demands unbiased treatment of individuals, helping to ensure equal treatment before the law as well as legal guarantees against arbitrary judicial and administrative decisions. 5. Disadvantages of bureaucracy. As you are well aware, bureaucracies, while designed for maximal efficiency, are notorious for their inefficiencies. In practice, Weber's ideal form of bureaucracy is not achieved for a number of reasons. First, human beings do not exist just for the organization. People track all sorts of mud from the rest of their lives with them into bureaucratic arrangements, and they have a great many interests that are independent of the organization. Second, bureaucracies are not immune to social change. When such changes are frequent and rapid, the pat answers supplied by bureaucratic regulations and rules interfere with a bureaucracy's rational organization. Third, since a bureaucracy consists of a network of specialists, each person considers anything that fall outside his or her area to be someone else's problem. Complaining to a bureaucracy is frustrating precisely because so many activities fall between the cracks, and so bureaucrats find it easy to evade responsibility. A. Bureaucratic ritualism, a preoccupation with rules and regulations as ends in themselves rather than as the means to organizational goals, occurs when individuals become so intent on conforming to rules that they thwart the goals of the organization. B. Bureaucratic inertia, the tendency of organizations to persist after they have outlived their usefulness. March of dimes. C. Perverted rationality. Weber viewed bureaucracy as evolving rational procedures that coolly calculate how a result may be achieved most efficiently. However, functional rationality is concerned only with means to an end, not the end itself. Accordingly, bureaucratic machinery may run out of control. For example, programs designed to reduce unemployment may unleash rampant inflation. Regulations designed to increase safety can contribute to skyrocketing costs and reduce industrial productivity. In short, because each bureaucrat concentrates on his or her own job, no one is looking ahead to the larger ends. D. Trained incapacity. Social critic Thorstein Veblen, 1921, pointed out that bureaucracies encourage their members to rely upon established rules and regulations and to apply them in unimaginative and mechanical fashion, what he termed trained incapacity. Based on the socialization process provided by organizations, people develop tunnel vision that limits their ability to respond in new ways when situations dictate that old ways are inappropriate or inadequate. For example, nearly 2 decades ago, the American automobile industry was unresponsive and uncreative in meeting the changing tastes of the American public and in confronting the inroads of foreign competitors in the American market. Its managers continued to build big cars using the same manufacturing techniques despite superior quality and appeal of Japanese products. The major response was, and is, to blame the Japanese for American short-sightedness and try to legislate protectionist trade laws. E. Parkinson's Law. C. Northcote. Parkinson gained notoriety in 1962 with Parkinson's Law. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Wanting to appear busy or important, or both, officials increase their workload by writing a lot of memos, creating rules, filling out forms, and keeping files. Then, feeling overworked, they hire assistants, usually several. A single assistant would be a competitor for the boss's job. Then assistants create work for each other. The boss's salary is probably increased because he is now responsible for supervising more people. The departmental budget is increased, enabling more people to be hired. The result is an ever-increasing pyramid of bureaucracy. The relentless growth of bureaucracy is reflected in American government. When George Washington was inaugurated as president in 1790, there were 9 executive units and some 1,000 employees. A century later, over 150,000 civilians worked for the Harrison administration, a rate of growth 10 times as fast as that of the population. By 1980, nearly 3 million civil servants were employed by the executive branch, 1 in 75 persons. F. Peter Principle. Yet another popular cliché that challenges the functionalist view of bureaucracies as efficient is the Peter Principle. Lawrence J. Peter argues in every hierarchy, every employee tends to rise to his or her level of incompetence. G. Oligarchy. Robert Mickle's Iron Law of Oligarchy, defined as rule of the few over the many. The pyramid-like organizational structures reveal this.